Today we'll talk about some of the founding principles of our government, that of pluralism, natural rights, and the debate between conservatives and liberals about what the government should be. The concept of pluralism is that there's a public interest, that which the government does, and it rises out of the conflict of different interest groups, that there's no single group that dominates. Instead, many groups form, and compromise is the result. So that if you have an interest, other people have that interest, they collectively form a group and lobby for the government, and that conflicts with the interests of other groups, and out of that is a compromise. Pluralists argue that groups form to protect and advocate interests. Every interest will be represented. And you might say, well, what about the non-economic groups? Ralph Nader, for example, formed a group to protect consumers because he felt that they weren't being protected by the business interests. Now that's an example of pluralism. There's some motivation for public interest. However, in some cases, states have actually created what are called public interveners. So for example, if a power company or utility wants a rate increase, who argues the other side that it's not needed? Do citizens have the same information that the power company has to argue against the rate increase? So states have created a special office of the public intervener to sort of institutionalize pluralism and to allow that person to argue the case of the citizens against the interest group. Critics say the system is not pluralistic, that it's elitist, that there's a small group that dominates. The bankers, the media, the business interests, the Chamber of Commerce, that they're the leaders in the community. They create what the policies are. They participate in the government, and the individual citizens do not. And this is argued at the local and national level. There's also the problem of free riders. What is your incentive to join a group if you get all the benefits without paying a fee, a membership, or being active in the group? The free rider concept is seen in, say, why teachers' unions want to close shop. That when they negotiate a contract, all the teachers get the benefit of that, whether they're in the union or not. So a closed shop means that you have to be in the union in order to teach in that school. Groups often give selective benefits. The AARP, why should you join it? You might get discounts, magazines, information. Why join the NRA? You get information, discounts, magazines, you sense a sense of belonging and influencing policy. Another important concept is that of natural rights, that people are endowed with natural rights. They're not handed down by kings or from the government itself, but the power rises from the people, that people naturally have individual rights, and it's these rights that they give some up to form a government. The Declaration of Independence is probably the most powerful statement of this principle, written by Thomas Jefferson as a revolutionary statement about why they were rebelling against the king. It talks about the endowed rights of individuals from their creator as human beings. And that's a very important point, that in the United States, the founders pushed this idea of natural rights rising from the people, and that they together form a government. And that's why the preamble to our Constitution starts with the powerful phrase, "We the people," in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the general welfare, do ordain and establish this Constitution. So again, these powerful words, we the people do ordain and establish the Constitution, that before in revolutions the king granted powers to the people. This was a counter to that, where the people established the government from their own power. So the role of government is debated a great deal. Some say it should be limited to do just the things that people can't provide for themselves. Provide for the national defense, the police force, provide for roads and transportation, bridges. Others say the government should build a better society, that it should actively protect the rights of individuals. And so the conservatives and liberals differ a great deal on what government should be. Russell Kirk, a leading thinker of the conservative movement, argued, and in this quote argues against the libertarians who wanted freedom for itself. He argues that first the government should establish order. That's the basic principle of government, and then ensure freedoms. And then another influential liberal, Hubert Humphrey, argued that the test of government is what it does for the poorest, for the most needy people, and that's a government should build a better society and take care of those who can't take care of themselves. So throughout the course and throughout the study of American government, we see this conflict. What should role of government be? Should it be minimal? Should it be just protecting freedoms and let individuals take care of their own needs? Or should the government step in and do things for people? And that's what we'll study throughout the rest of the course as we study these principles in action.